Hi, I'm Patricia. Welcome to the 17th episode of A Breath of Song. I'm so glad you chose to do this today. Music producer Ben Marin says, "Nature is always singing." Here we are, part of nature, supporting ourselves with songs as we heal and adapt and grow, and I think our voices are just perfect for this. I'm coming to you straight from my home in Vermont. Whether our voices are creaky or smooth today, we can feel the connection to our breath and vibration in our body. Let's find how good it can feel to sing. Today's song is Ancient Green by Kathleen. We'll sing it several times through so it can settle inside you and you can begin to trust it as a resource. Singing it mindfully over and over can also move you into a state of flow. All the benefits of meditation without the sitting still and being quiet. So let's start with a good yawn stretch. Maybe roll your shoulders a bit. Stretch your back. Stretch along one side. Arc over to the other side. Feeling those ribs expanding. Letting the breath move in and out of your body. Notice how it can open up space and soften your face. And allow it to soften your tongue. And one more for your neck. How about some hum sighs to let your voice slide around? And one more. My lips are still tense today. One last one. There we go. So unusually, I'm going to tell you the story behind this song before we even start, because I think it makes so much sense of the song. Kathleen said she wrote it while lying on a huge rock next to the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia, crying her heart out over a relationship that was transforming. A beautiful oak tree was growing out of the rock, and as the song was born, her sorrowful feelings washed through with the sound of the river, and she was left feeling whole and at peace with the way things were. It's a beautiful story. So there are two basic parts, and I'll teach them each, and then we'll put them together, and I may add a descant at the end just because. So the first part is, I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. And we sing that twice. So let's try that. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. Again. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. Great. And the second part repeats twice as well, but it changes a little on the second time through. So have a listen. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. Let's try that. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. Then the second time we sing it, there are a couple of changes. It goes, all my tears. So the first time we sang it, it was, all my tears. The second time is, all my tears. And then it goes on, all my tears. The first time was all my tears, but the second time is all my tears. Just try that. All my tears. So this first line, the whole first line together, the first time through sounds like this. All my tears, all my tears. And the second time sounds like this. All my tears, all my tears. So let's try it the second time through. Here we go. All my tears, all my tears. And then it goes on just like the first. All my tears, the river's gonna wash away. Let's try the second time through. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. Fabulous. So there's another bass line that harmonizes with that river's gonna wash away part and then comes in a little quicker. So we just sang, the river's gonna wash away. And this part is gonna go, river's gonna wash away all my tears, all my tears, all my tears. River's gonna wash away all my tears, all my tears, all my tears. River's gonna wash away. Yeah. So we'll hear how those two connect when we put the whole song together, which is what we're just about to do. So let's give ourselves a little bit of a rhythm and a bass line. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, and here we go. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears. She wrapped me up in ancient green, the river's gonna wash away all my tears, all my tears, all my tears. The river's gonna wash away. So just the second part. the first part.
I lay under a tall my asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall tree, asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall tree, asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green.
I'm going to add a harmony to this first part.
I lay under a tall tree, asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall tree, asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall tree, asked the goddess to shelter. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green.
I'm so glad you're singing with me. In a second, I'll share a little more about the song, but first, let me remind you that I look for your reviews on Apple Podcasts and comments that you make. Sending out a podcast from my home is a huge act of trust. Where does it go, really? It helps me to hear that it reaches you. Visit abreathofsong.com to see lyrics, Patty Piotrowski's beautiful artwork, sign up to know when the next episode is released, suggest a song or songwriter for the podcast, and leave something in the tip jar to help cover costs. Before I get paid, 25% is donated to the Jazz Foundation of America, which directly supports jazz, blues, and roots musicians. The artistry and skill and heart of Black and Indigenous musicians is at the core of so much of the music that I love and share here. Kathleen wrote Ancient Green in 1990, and the song has traveled widely. She shared this story with me, saying, and I quote her, "One time I sang the song in a show with a group of women drummers. Their teacher, a lovely African man, also played with us in the concert and rehearsal. After I taught them in the rehearsal and we had played it for a while, the African drummer told me that the song felt like an African song to him. This was one of my happiest moments, since I have for so long felt inspired by African diaspora music. And I did not really feel like I wrote that song. It just came through as a whole as I cried by the river." In the show notes for this episode, I share a link to Kathleen's blog post about the song with her own beautiful recording. It's well worth checking out. So let's sing Ancient Green again to help it settle a little more into our brains. And of course, you can always find the episode on abreathofsong.com and listen as many times as you'd like. So I'm going to sing the first part twice, the second part both times through, and then I'm going to add the third part in and go back to the first part. You do what you're comfortable with. There's our home note, and I'm going to start here. 2, 3, 4. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. All my tears, all my tears, all my tears, the river's gonna wash away. All my tears,
The river's gonna wash away all my tears, all my tears, all my tears. River's gonna wash away. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green. Last time I lay under a tall oak tree, asked the goddess to shelter me. She wrapped me up in ancient green, ancient green.
Thank you for joining me today for A Breath of Song, and thank you for taking care of yourself and listening to your own voice. I believe making a better world starts with tuning in to ourselves and each other, which is what we just did. So yay us! Let a friend know about the show so they can join too, and next time we'll plant another song. Until then, be well.